So let's move on to free agents. And again, this is one of those, again, I didn't want to undersell this segment at the beginning, but so much of what the Celtics are going to do this offseason doesn't seem like it's a fireworks sort of offseason. You're looking at, do you bring back Cantor? How do you replace Wanamaker if and when he walks?
Well, Cantor makes the decision himself.
Can you trade all your picks?
All right, Cantor's got the player option and Wanamaker. So that's it-ish.
Yeah.
And then it's, I guess, what do you do with your 3 picks? Do you bring in 3 new guys, and then you're going to have small little things with like Taco and Tremont, which I think are goners with the 3 picks if you end up keeping them. But again, we'll see there what they do with that situation. But we're not going to get into the draft. We'll get into let's have fun. Let's play a little wish list game, okay? So we're looking at not an awesome, free agent market. So let's be realistic. A player I think they can get is Anthony Davis. No.
Okay. I like where this is going.
No.
The number one guy I see, Gordon Hayward. That'd be a big one.
Yeah, no.
I believe they can keep Smart, though.
So you're not getting a tier 1, tier 2 type guy, okay? You're not getting – nor are you going to take any stats.
There's no tier 1 here that I can see.
There's not a tier 1. We're talking there's nobody really here. Your Ingram's restricted. You've got a few player options with DeRozan, obviously Hayward, Drummond, Gallinari is out there. Van Vliet, Harold.
Money for these guys.
You have no money for these guys. Bertans, Malik Beasley, also restricted. So let's start in the proven player tier who can make an impact, maybe a little bit out of your range, okay? I'm going to throw out the high-level wish list sort of guy, which is Serge Ibaka, which Bobby already has a home away and alternate jersey of at home.
I got the edit, the Photoshop edit. This is why I joined CLNS.
Bobby, you're gonna send an email or something, some sort of pitch. You're gonna put your own pitch in there.
This guy is so great.
Brady, Olynyk, and Bobby. Okay, to this recruitment.
The key, I can go on his cooking show and compete, so that's the key thing there. This guy's so great. He solves so many issues. I love his personality. You saw him coaching guys on the court. Like, this guy would be a dream for the Celtics and their system, and he's a defender. The problem is, though, like, my approach to this free agency class is, are these guys willing to leave their team? And in a case where Toronto could probably offer him 1 year, $24 million, I don't see it. All the Celtics have is like a $5.9 million taxpayer exception.
But don't ruin this for
us. I'd love to have him. I would do anything. Maybe they can work out some sort of other deal, clam chowder or something. I don't know, but it's not going to be money.
Yeah, he's my dare to dream guy who is not.
If somehow
he loves Toronto. Oh, he's in love with that city.
They opened up some rosters. Cap space and he was available. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, watching him in the postseason against the Celtics, he was their most consistent player from start to finish. I mean, yeah, you had your Lowry game and whatnot, but I mean, I thought he was nails for them, like through and through. He was the toughest guy out there. I mean, he was blocking every time he blocked a shot. The announcers were like, "Once a great shot blocker." I was like, "This guy's blocking shots left and right still," and he's scoring from all over the court. I mean, I think he fits. It's too bad. It's too bad he wasn't maybe 5 years younger. This dude would absolutely cash in.
Yeah.
I still think he's going to make, like Bobby said, he's going to make a good lump of cash
in the 20 million range. Obviously, you have no shot, and it's not worth discussing. And if Toronto,
that's going to happen, though. I think
Toronto's going to keep
close to it. I mean, he's earned it at this point, and like Jimmy said, that playoff display that he put on for everyone to see. If Toronto doesn't give it to him, another team might swoop in. I don't know if it'll be a title contender, but we'll see what happens. But I think if you're Toronto, that's a huge priority. I'm looking at him as a higher priority than Fred VanVleet if I'm the Toronto Raptors.
You think so?
Yep, I actually see them losing VanVleet and keeping.
Yeah,
I think they lose him and Ibaka's to consolation. I don't think that's how they want it to go. I think VanVleet is maybe in that emerging star kind of level.
Yeah, but they're looking at a young guy
who's a valuable. I mean, let's be real. I mean, he came off the bench, which is fine, and maybe he shouldn't have, but he did.
He shouldn't have, yeah, exactly.
But he's a bench player.
Who's that, Ibaka? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's be real. He's a bench player. I mean, so he
won't be though now that Gasol's gone and Gasol's gone.
He's not Lou Williams now. He's not like he's one of those.
I still can't figure out why Gasol was
For the life of me, I'll never understand that.
He'll be available.
Coach
You want him?
Harrison the horn.
Right. For all the rotations he played for the first time ever that series in his zones. Like the easiest thing in the world to do would be to literally just like take fucking drive Gasol out into the woods and just open the door and just let him wander out.
Roll him out.
And then just
Hey, are you guys a no on Gasol?
And then I don't know where he is, and then just start Ibaka. It was so
All you
obvious.
had to do is just kick him out of the. You don't have to do anything. You just had to expose him to outside the bubble, and he's toast.
Right. That's what I said. Send him for a pizza. Oh, sorry. You know.
I would think about bringing Gasol to Boston, as unexciting as that is.
Well, let's go into the unexciting tier of big men. Unexciting tier of big men include potentially Gasol, Tristan Thompson, whose name was kicked around, and honestly, they should have figured out a way to make that happen.
What happened there?
I don't know if he changed his mind. It is what it is. As we know, Kanter has a player option. Another couple of bigs out there again, and again, let's go into the former Celtic class. One of you guys, when we were talking about this, mentioned Baynes. Again, I don't think anybody would object to a return engagement here with Baynes. And he might have been a difference maker healthy for them this season.
Healthy's key. I think I couldn't stay healthy when he was here.
Yeah, that was the problem. He couldn't stay healthy, and obviously
too many kicks for the groin.
The Celtics didn't want to part ways with him. It was more of a money thing. They were strapped for cash.
Well, they had to do something there, and they just and that was tough. And then there's another weird one out there, which I don't think is going to happen. But Dwight Howard's also another big who I want nothing to do with.
That's gross.
I don't see that fitting with
Give me Enes Kanter on a 10-year contract rather than Dwight Howard for a year.
Yeah,
I'm not Aron Baynes' former teammates just getting together and just hitting him up on the phone or whatever, Skype, whatever it takes, and just say, hey, look, this is what we did last season. We think that you could fill a void that we need, toughness, all that stuff. That
Baynes makes too much sense, right?
What's that?
Baynes makes too much sense, doesn't it? But
does.
You got a problem, though. I mean, if Kanter's probably, as you said, player option. He's going to come back, I think, right?
Yeah.
So now what are you going to do? You're going to float. You're going to float him and Williams and Tice and Baynes. You really need Kanter to not be here.
Yeah, he's gonna opt in.
And you need Kanter to not be here to bring in another big. You're going to tie up 4 spots to the center position.
Well, what if Danny Ainge, for some reason, and we've seen it before, what if he falls in love with some first rounder who's not projected to be a top 10, or maybe he is, and he can finagle a trade, and maybe we see some of those guys that we're waiting for them to part ways with. One of those rookies, you couple it together with some of the draft picks he has for this pick, or for this draft, and then you see him go out and get that player. You cut some salary, but at the same time, you're picking up another guy. I don't know if if he'll go that route.
You can take any 3. I don't care. Take
them all.
Take my rookies.
I mean, that way you can create a little bit more cap space. Maybe, the way Danny does things, he can be flexible.
Yeah.
But you're not going to create cap space, but you can move.
They don't make anything.
You can move those centers realistically, and Vincent Poirier.
I'm talking about Kanter.
Poirier, oh my God!
He's on the books. He's signed. He's not.
Is he? These guys are movable though, in some sense. They're always movable, especially Kanter. Someone would take a Kanter, so they can find ways to create roster spots. In fact, Semi Ojeleye, Javonte Green, those guys are non-guaranteed. I love the idea of Thompson. I think he fills a need on both ends of the court. He's not the best pick and roll guy, which is what they run through the centers, but defensively on the boards, he would fill some valuable minutes for them. And I look at it and say he's a guy who would leave his team. They have Andre Drummond in Cleveland. He's played in Cleveland for too long. No one wants to play in Cleveland that long. And realistically, I don't see a big deal for him. Like the Knicks, the Hawks, are those teams going to dedicate big money to him? They're not. So he's realistically a guy that I think they could sign for $5.7 million or whatever that exception is going to be. And I think he would make a significant difference on the team. He could even start.
I like Thompson a lot. I think he might make more than that, though. I think he could at least. I mean,
for who?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to.
There's some bad teams out there.
The needs are.
Yeah.
But even if you're a good team, I mean, you can't use a mobile big man. I mean, a guy who's a proven veteran in this league, played with LeBron, won a championship, knows what it takes to win. I'm sure he's got some leadership
LeBron
qualities.
could scoop him up. That's a good point.
That's always a
oh,
But
for
again,
sure. I
we're
mean,
not worried
and,
about what.
obviously
we're not worried-
Thompson would love to go to LA. Obviously, got some Kardashian blood there. But I think Thompson would be a great fit if he would want to play in Boston.
Right. That's not the point of this exercise. We don't know where they want to go. We just want to talk about who we think fits here.
Sure. I'll throw a guy out there.
The problem is Thompson just plays himself off the floor in a lot of situations, and that's always going to be
throws, yeah.
Yeah, and then the free throws right. And so I just don't want specialists. I want guys who you can put in there and you can trust. And I think Baynes is just better all around, more rounded, and you know that it works here.
I think Baynes gets paid, though. I mean, he earned it. The 9 3-point game.
I'm hoping between the injuries and the loyalty to Boston and liking being here.
The loyalty
after he got traded.
They love him. They were fine. They were so upset about it.
Oh, Danny, Aaron, hey, buddy, how you doing? Sorry about that dump to Phoenix, buddy.
Jimmy, if it takes a video tribute, another one, the 12th one in the last 3 years to get it done, why not? Go ahead.
Do it. All right,
the only thing that's going to talk is money. I have one sleeper big man before you go into the next one.
No, I got one too.
Oh, you do? Do you want to go?
No, go.
Okay, my sleeper big is Willie Cauley-Stein. Here's a guy before everyone, writes him off. Boo. Drafted by Sacramento Kings. So right off the bat, doomed.
That's bad.
Just doomed. That's
bad for you.
Drafted to the Kings, just completely inept franchise 5 years ago.
They screwed up Isaiah.
They screw everybody up there.
Rondo made him look all right, though, that 1 year.
Every single player who gets drafted by them or goes to that organization, DeMarcus Cousins, I mean, you can go down the line. I mean, there's a culture. You want to talk about culture. I mean, there's no culture there. I've never been in the city. I'm not talking about the city. I'm just talking about the organization. I mean, it's completely inept. So he goes there, probably has the worst start to a career that you can have for a high lottery pick. And then he goes to Golden State thinking, you know what? I'm going to a winning franchise now. Here we go. And I'm ready to prove myself. Then what happens in Golden State? Injuries like crazy. They tank the season. I still think he gets a taste of the culture and the winning tradition, not tradition, but the winners over there. Gets traded to Dallas and just gets stuck on a team that he's behind players that are going to be playing ahead of him. I mean, we don't have to go down the name Porzingis, all the way down the line. So he didn't really get a chance to show himself, and then has a kid over the summer, doesn't go into the bubble, doesn't play in the bubble. So this guy's been working, I think, behind the scenes. He wants to prove himself. He's short money. I think he's going to opt out of he has an opt out player option for Dallas.
Jimmy sounds like his agent.
No, for real. How long you been buying this dude? Jesus.
I think he opts out, and I think he's looking for a prove it deal, a year or two, and the Celtics can offer playing time and can offer him, monetarily what he would command. So I think there's a little bit of a match there. That's my style.
But the problem is if he opts out,
is right.
But if he opts out, he's doing it for money. And that means he has to believe he can get money. And if he opts out because he's going to get money, that means he's not going to get.
No, I think he's doing it for not just money, but for opportunity. If he's going to opt into a $2.5
so he needs
million
a makeover, you're saying?
Yeah, he'd be the third center.
Yeah, I think what Jimmy's saying that he's looking. He watched the Eastern Conference Finals and was drooling over that matchup against Bam Adebayo. Like, maybe I'm the guy that this team needs to put him over the top, or at least match up against Miami Heat better. I see it.
Fair enough.
I mean, players have had success. Players, broken players. They come in the Boston Celtics organization. Brad Stevens sort of rehabs them a little bit. Spread their wings, and they fly off into the league again, and they get signed like Evan Turner, for example. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, guys can come here on short money, make a name for themselves, reestablish themselves in
Marcus
the league,
Morris.
and
right,
exactly. So he kind of
all right.
kind of
Let me throw in my ex-Celtics semi big is Kelly Olynyk.
Did you watch last night's game?
Maybe
a little bit.
He was jumping so high that he almost left the bubble and got suspended for leaving the bubble. That's how he was jumping at pump fake.
I don't care if he didn't touch him. Why do you jump after? Oh man, yeah, I'm with you, Bobby.
Oof.
I second that.
I always thought Kelly got.
I'm not anti-Kelly.
We experienced him, and that was enough for me.
I always thought Kelly had a bad rap. I think he does more good than bad. He can switch.
Yeah.
He can switch on defense. He can knock down shots from. Again, he he's not a knockdown shooter, but he can extend the floor for you.
But does he fill a void though? Like that's the thing. Like I don't know.
Is he just like kind of like a
I like the offense.
Have plenty of players that can do that. Like,
I like the offensive stretch 4 situation there with a bench unit. I like that. I like the.
He could give you 12 to 15 points.
He's great second unit minutes. He's good. He could play with starters too, depending on the lineups, I think, and depending who else is on the floor. I think he does a lot for you. And again, I'm just looking at guys who are on the cheap who, again, might just not find a route towards getting paid.
He has a $12.5 million opt-in though, and I think he loves Miami. Looking at his Instagram, that guy loves living in Miami, and he lived in Boston. And if you've lived in Boston, and if you've lived in Miami, the choice is obvious.
Yeah,
Kelly Olynyk doesn't strike me. Kelly Olynyk doesn't strike me as a Miami guy though.
Jesus,
are you kidding me?
I don't know. The reason why it's obvious because the weather changed, but I remember his rookie year. I literally saw Kelly Olynyk out a couple of times out in downtown Boston. Like he likes his nightlife. So yeah, to Bobby's point, he saw the complete 180 from Boston to Miami, and he's like, "Yeah, this is where I want to stay forever."
All right.
Yeah.
12 million goes a little bit further in Florida.
I don't know if he still is, but if I had to guess, in Miami, maybe. You
guys enjoy your Miamis, okay? It's not for everybody. All right, let's switch. Everyone's fixated on guards, okay? I mean on bigs. There's one other player I threw out there, which is Millsap. I don't know.
Too much.
I like it, but
I don't know what he gets paid.
Too much money.
Whiteside is another guy who's out there. Jimmy mentioned DeMarcus Cousins. I'm all set. I threw out Giles.
Yeah, explain this because everyone is so dismissive of it, and when you ask that person why, it's because it's DeMarcus Cousins. But why? Tell me more.
That's what the Celtics say, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Dude, talent. Pure talent alone. If DeMarcus Cousins
didn't we do a chemistry segment?
Be healthy, yeah, I know, and that's the one thing. But that DeMarcus Cousins was years ago. I mean, right. We haven't even seen enough of him to know what type of a person he is in the court anymore. So I mean, listen, if it's short money, you take a flyer on a guy. I mean, talent wise, for that money, you're not going to find anybody better.
I just give him credit for that those regular season numbers. And he wasn't healthy all the way through, but he played a good chunk throughout that year. And he proved that he could take on a role like that. I was skeptical. I wasn't quite sure how he was going to handle, being the third or fourth guy to get the ball.
I just don't think he's good anymore.
And
you don't know.
That could be another thing. But if you take a flyer on him, you're not giving him.
I don't think he's good at basketball anymore.
We saw him with the Warriors, and there was no better team to get a run with.
I don't like the Achilles. That's the thing. Like that injury. I mean, I don't know.
He's a 100-year-old man at this point, and that's how.
People don't say that though. That's the thing. People just say, "Oh, no, he's because he's DeMarcus." I'm like, well, wait a minute.
No. I don't care about the DeMarcus.
You don't want him because of his personality, and he's gonna,
I think he plays like that sweaty headband guy on the pickup court right now, who just backs you in, and he's just overly physical, but he can't jump anymore. I'm all set with that.
Last deal was.
A couple other flyers. I just want to throw them out there because there's a few names out there. I always get enticed by former high-level picks who fizzled out, high picks who fizzled out for one reason or another, even though they don't always work in their second go-through. But if they were drafted there has to be a reason why, and I always like taking flyers. So a name I'm going to throw out there is Josh Jackson.
No.
Does anybody have any? I don't have any, but he's interesting.
He's interesting, yeah.
He would be playing for Maine.
Like after the big void, obviously getting a big that can actually, that could help boost this team defensively. I think you look at a wing defender, and I think he
got him here just to be a wing defender type guy.
If you're a wing defender, they still need a guy like that. The Tony Allen, so to speak, the James Posey, whatever.
That's who he is in his 2.0.
Josh Jackson. Josh Jackson, the same Jackson that refused to work out.
Yes.
Much of a shot, man. They just
screw that guy.
Forget that. I mean,
he's the reason we have Tatum. You owe him. You should feel good about him.
Josh Jackson got paid $6 million last year to play in Memphis's G League team. So he would be in Maine, if anything.
Yeah, but Bobby, Memphis was on one. They were like, okay, if you're not going to be part of this, then get out of here to what am I drawing a blank? Iguodala, right? Yeah, they're giving guys big time minutes. They wanted to go for it, and I just feel like they looked at Josh Jackson. They give him much of a shot. They're like, no, we're pushing for the playoffs.
Isn't that where Boston is? Boston's going for it right now.
Dude, it's like the word is out on Josh Jackson. Free G League for a reason.
He might be going overseas.
And if you do need to replace Brad Wanamaker, which you may need to, I'm going to throw out one last name for you guys.
Wait, first of all, you can't replace Brad Wanamaker, but go ahead.
Rajon Rondo.
Yeah, I love
He'd be
that.
perfect. He'd be so perfect.
I love that.
I like it.
What? On this team?
He's everything they need.
I hate him, but I would like it.
Oh, I love it.
I'm a Rondo guy, and I don't like it at all.
No?
Why don't you like it?
Give me you first.
Like
Well, no,
Why
do
I like it?
Voice of dissent. Josue, go.
I just don't think you'll get a Rondo that's fighting for a championship and thinking that this is his best shot. Like, I just think he wants to be in LA, and let's say worst case scenario, the Lakers say they don't want him anymore. I just don't see him coming into a role.
Well, that's true. I'm saying the Celtics want him.
Plus he's going to be on the team.
Want him.
Guys
Not
really
what you're going to do.
What's up?
I'm saying, do you want him here? Not what he's going to do. We don't know what any of these people would do.
I just don't think the Celtics are in dire need of backcourt help right now. I just don't think that's a – you know what I mean? There's so many – whether we're talking young talent or guys who are already established.
Down.
Two
thumbs down for your – two thumbs down for Josue's.
But
2 thumbs down for Josue's dissent on Rajon. I'm a Rondo guy. Always have been. He's playing exceptional in the playoffs. Obviously, I mean, playing with LeBron and AD, that helps a lot. But listen, I think he's at the point of his career where he does want to play for championships, but at the same time, his role is changing a bit where he is a player coach almost out there. He's a very smart player, massive IQ. He does obviously know what it's like to be a player under Brad. So if he chose to come back here, he knows what he's getting himself into ahead of time. And I think he would accept that, that reserve role, that player coach role, sort of be an influence on a lot of the younger guys here. And honestly, he's the type of influence that I would want some of these younger guys to have because he's been there, done that. He's played with the best players in the NBA over the last 20 years, right? Whether it's, going back to Kevin Garnett all the way to, LeBron James and Anthony Davis and all the players in between. So he's a player that you could learn a lot from if you're a young player. So I would be all for that. Obviously, it would have to be for short money, all that stuff. But in terms of him being on the roster, I'll be all for that. And he can give you what you need. He's not going to overstep his boundaries and take 20 shots a game randomly.
This is a guy who, through Jackie McMullen's report, stood up to LeBron James for his body language. So if you're a guy who's going to step up to LeBron, you're going to be willing to step up to Tatum, to Brown, to Smart, any of these guys who need it.
Bobby, we don't, like the way we view Rondo or other, I don't see that same sort of influence happening in the Celtics locker room. And listen, I'm not saying that.
I think he'd be good in the Celtics locker room.
I think he'd be so great.
I think he'd actually be good now.
No, I don't think he would. Okay, I don't think he would cause conflict in that locker room, but I just think what you're getting from out of him value-wise, I don't know. Does it really put the Celtics over the top? Does it make a huge?
Put the Lakers over the top.
Yeah, because the Lakers have more after their top 2 players. They have a lot of guys that need sort of direction in that second unit, and the Celtics need that too. But the Celtics need more raw, pure talent, guys who can either score or actually, you know what I mean. And listen, at this stage in Rondo's career, he's just not that guy. And if he can get guys to do that, I don't know if it's going to be the same sort of effect that you see with the Lakers. That's Hall of Fame talent. That's top 5 in the NBA players talent next to LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
So the Celtics have 12 through 20 talent. They've got they got a lot of it.
We're talking about a backup guard. So if you're gonna have a backup guard, you might as well have a guard that's been there, done that, understands the game better than most of the guards out there. I think he wants to be a coach someday in some way, shape, or form. So I think he would sort of fit nicely into this sort of mentor role and this coaching role. And again, he doesn't need to come off the bench and score 15, 20 points a game. He needs to come off the bench and facilitate and get the guys like Tatum and Brown and whoever else is out there, get them the ball where they need to get it. And that's what he does. So for me, we're talking about a role that's going to be – we're talking about filling Brad Wanamaker's role.
Yeah,
so
he's better than Wanamaker.
It's
better than Wanamaker. Right. So in summation, Ibaka, Rondo.
Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, the bench is stacked now.
Olynyk.
You can only get one of those guys.
Willie Cauley-Stein.
And Willie Cauley-Stein. We're gonna have 6.
And Evan Turner.
We're gonna have 7 centers on the team.
Bring Turner back.
team right there. That's a
The man
championship
back.
squad right there.
I like it.
Tyler
Minimum-
Zeller is available too.
Minimum deals and that mid-level exception, you should be able to sign one of these guys at least.
One. All right. Well, we'll get one. We'll see what happens. There's still a fair amount to do this offseason, so we're spitballing now. The good news is we mentioned so many names. We're gonna be right with one of them probably,
Yeah,
and then we're gonna roll this back as an "I told you so" segment. You know,
Just clip that one guy that we talked about.
we had it. We
Wait until it's Willie Cauley-Stein and you hear that Jimmy got a 2% cut.
I'll never live. You'll never live that down.
we just
if he
listed
does that.
27 candidates who are likely to come to Boston.
Yeah.
So that's it again for the Garden Report, brought to you by CarShield. Where is this read of mine?
I can read it for
You
you.
know it by heart now.
CarShield. Go to
It's
carshield.com. Type in the keyword garden.
Garden
CarShield's like the leading
auto protection
that's going
company.
to save your ass when you
Yep.
get your ass in trouble behind the wheel.
Yeah,
So go to
Yep.
carshield.com. Code garden for what? What's the deal though?
10%.
10% off. They've helped millions of people already, and you can be lucky number 1,000,001.
1,000,001. It just takes one. So again, for Josue Pavano, as I like to,
You gotta say Pavone.
And Jimmy Toscano.
Joe Pistone.
I never tried those Pizzones. Are they good? No.
Joe Pizzone.
Nobody on Pizza's
Joey
Hut.
Pizzoni from Heavy.com, Jimmy Toscano, and Bobby Manning, Celtics blog, CLNS Media, occasionally Boston Sports Journal. He does a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to sign off. We'll be back throughout the offseason with lots of nonsense and trying to figure out whether or not any of our shit
know what we
actually
should do?
sticks to the wall. Yeah.
You know what we should do? We should do a live show when NBA free agency starts.
Yeah.
And when
just
is
start.
that?
I knew
We
it. I
don't
knew
know.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, just right when it starts, boom, and we're off.
Oh, remember last year? Wow.
Yeah.